Final countdown. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's rock.
More and more, then after that you want more and more.
And Davis just got backed up with a counter right from Roach.
Boom. He counterpunched Tank.
Salute, your boy, Mr. Mass. We got my boy, Greg Hackett, one of the sharpest minds in boxing, true professional, a student of the game, a guy who can, you can see on the different platforms, break down the sport of boxing like no other. When I want to get some good basketball, when I want to get some good boxing knowledge, that's the guy I look for, man. He gonna give it to you raw and uncut, no biasness, no narrative. Just a boxing analyst. What's up, my guy?
What's going on? How you feeling?
Not too bad, man. I'm gonna let Greg have it for a little bit here. He gonna kind of give a quick background of who he is, his place in boxing, and what he's doing currently right now in the sport of boxing.
Hey, appreciate that. I'm Greg Hackett, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, boxing coach, fighter, analyst now. I've been boxing since I was 13 years old. I had 16 amateur fights, 28 professional fights, and I'm still in the game.
Okay. Yeah, man, like there's a stigma, Greg, about Philly fighters, right? Dogs, in the trenches. Can you name some fighters right now that you're currently working with?
Right now, I've been working with Josephat Ortiz. He's actually from Reading, PA. And then I got another lightweight named Jabril Noble, 6-0, 5 knockouts.
Okay, cool, man. Obviously, we're coming off a great weekend of boxing, right? I think one of the better cards I've seen this year, especially with Antoine Russell and what he did, boxing masterclass, right? Showed you everything: pressure, boxing skills, outside, inside. I'm a big fan of Jose Benavidez, who beat Pitbull Cruz. But I think, Russell was just too much for him, just a dog in there. But the main event, Tank and Lamont, what's your thoughts, man? I mean, I saw your kind of pregame analysis, and I don't think you saw it going that way. But you was giving Lamont his respect, though. I mean, you said that, that Lamont and Tank had some familiarity, and, when two guys clash that know each other, it's possible to kind of get a match like that. Give me your thoughts, man.
I mean, to me, in the beginning, before the fight happened, I was just basically basing off what I saw in the ring from both of them. And Lamont never made me think that he was like weak or couldn't handle it, but I just know Tank to be superior when it comes to the punching power. You know what I mean? He eventually breaks his opponents down and knock them out. So my analysis before the fight was that it was going to be a great fight, but Lamont would slow down at some point and, get stopped like probably in the 10th round. That part I had it wrong, but what I mean, it was a very competitive fight, and Lamont brought more to the table than we thought. And that to me is what boxing needs.
Yeah, I mean, there's the old saying, styles make fights. See, I looked at it differently from that. I saw Tank before the fight in the ring. He got the New York cap on, got the white beater on. He was more worried about his appearance than the actual fight, in my opinion. I thought Lamont came in the ring focused, determined, ready to go, right?
Yeah.
I think Tank was a little nonchalant, prior to the match. I don't think Tank hurt him one time in that fight. My pre-video here, you saw Lamont kind of counter and shoot the right hand. But when the power's not enough, Greg, and you're forced to go to plan B, C, D, and E, and Tank said recently in an interview that he's probably one of the best skilled fighters, in boxing, maybe even of this current generation. I didn't see him fall back on the skill set. Barry kept saying you're falling in short, right? He kept throwing the left hand from a little too far for distance for my liking, right? How would you gauge Tank's distance in this fight? He kept falling short, and he kept telegraphing the left hand. I don't think he shot the jab to cut distance to throw the left hand. A fighter of Lamont's, caliber. I mean, he's professional. I mean, he knows you have the left hand, and so I don't think Tank did a good job in this fight setting up the left hand. Right? It was a
Yeah.
one shot, and I don't think Tank did a good job from just boxing and his feet. His feet to me look off his fight.
Think about it like this. You in there with a guy who doesn't care about who you are. You know what I mean? A lot of times Tank is in the ring with guys who worry before the fight even starts. You know what I mean? This was a guy who knew him and he knew how to approach Tank. So a lot of those things that we saw work in the past wasn't going to work in this fight. You know what I mean? Lamont was totally prepared mentally and physically.
Yeah, see, I think the first maybe 6 rounds, maybe even 8 rounds, I had it 4-4. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I thought the fight was just even. And I gotta be honest, man. I think Lamont took most of those championship rounds. Lamont was in a good rhythm, right? He never got knocked off his path. Tank had some good punches and had some good moments, but like you said too, though, Lamont was ready to go. You know what I'm saying? I thought you can tell that Lamont done his homework. I can assume he had a great training camp,
Mhm.
and I don't know about you, man, but I saw a little confusion in Tank's corner. I saw Tank kind of going at Barry. It was too many voices going at once for my liking, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what that's about, but I did see some confusion, and that knockdown in round, I think it was round 9. Like, come on, man. Like, the politics. Listen, I don't care who it is. Like, that's a knockdown. That's a standing 8 count, right? And also,
Right.
too, when you go down, Greg, and then you turn your back, isn't that a sign of submission? I mean, like, what are
Yes.
we doing, bro?
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot going on there, man. And I basically explained it like this: Tank is the A-shot fighter, and he knows he's the A-shot fighter, and he knows that there's going to be things that let him get away with. You know what I mean? It's not supposed to be that way. And in any other case, with two regular fighters, something would have been done about that. But because it was Tank Davis, I mean, they kind of let it slide. But as I'm reading right now, they're saying that the New York State Athletic Commission is overlooking it and they thinking about turning it over.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that,
Mhm.
man. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
didn't know that part of it. Wow. That came out
yeah,
today?
yeah.
Okay. One thing that caught my eye too was you talked about it, Lamont wasn't scared. And sometimes you got to bully the bully, right? And just
Hmm.
come forward and stand your ground in boxing. Lamont was coming forward. He was pushing Tank back. And, Tank probably won't say this publicly, but I think he was kind of worried about what was coming back at him, right? Tank
Yeah,
shoot a shot, and Lamont did a great job of countering, you know what I'm saying? Catching him and shooting. I didn't know Lamont had these type of boxing skills, bro. I didn't know this. I knew he was good. I knew he was sturdy. I knew he was strong. But, I think we all assumed that if Tank lands a shot, it might be, that time again. But man, Lamont stood his ground, and I really think that Tank was, concerned about what was coming back his way.
yeah,
Lamont did a great job, countering him. And that clip I showed where, Tank threw the left and it kind of connected, but then Lamont came back with the straight right and landed flush. I think Lamont landed, the more of the harder punches in this fight. I didn't see Lamont wobble or get hurt. I thought Tank did a good job at going to the body at times. But did you see Lamont physically hurt at any point?
nah, you don't. I mean, listen, fighters are trained not to show pain and not to show, what I mean, not to show like, how can you say it? I'm trying to think of a word, but you can't show any type of weakness. So even if he did get caught with a shot that he felt was hard or it affected him in some type of way, I feel like you train not to show those things. So we didn't see too much out of that with Lamont. With Tank, a couple times we seen him knocked off balance and things like that. But I'm pretty sure both of them, they felt each other's punch.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Before we get to Terrence and Canelo, I kind of want to ask you this question because I think Tank, I always says if the left hand doesn't land Tank, you know, I never thought Tank was just a brawler. I think Tank has boxing skills, obviously,
For
right?
sure.
Good counter puncher, can come forward, he can fight going backwards. Good foot movement. He was pivoting, at times. But when the power is not enough, Greg, and you're forced to go to plan B, C, D, and E, and a fighter's in there with you, how difficult is that?
I mean, think about it. You plan for it to go a certain way. That's what
Mhm.
training camp is. That's what game planning is. So when the guy's being stubborn and he's not giving you what you're looking for, I always say this. You know what I mean? You got to go ahead and make it a rough fight. You know what I mean? You got to make it
Mhm.
a ugly fight. You know what I mean?
Did you know that Lamont Chin was that good?
I mean, you never know until you see a man in that situation.
Okay.
And to be honest, sometimes guys get hit, but it's not always a clean shot. Sometimes it looks clean, then sometimes it's not the best shot, but it can
Right.
hurt you. So, it just depends on the fighter and his preparation. I feel like he was very well conditioned for that fight.
Yeah, also too, I'm saying some of that was because like I said earlier, Greg, Tank was kind of falling in with his shots at times too. And so I'm
Mhm.
assuming that takes the thrust off the punch. I never really felt like Tank really sat down, right? Like he really sat down and threw something high up top. I thought he sat down on some body shots, right, and really went there. But
Yeah.
I agree with you. I don't think Lamont really got a clean shot to the chin. He got hit. He got hit, right? But I don't think it was just a clean, typical Tank Davis punch.
Yeah.
And that's why I talk about the skill set, the preparation, and when you're in the fight and the power is not there, I just feel like, man, like Tank he threw everything, he threw caution to the window, and he just relied on that punch, right? I don't think he relied on his skill set. And this is why guys like Floyd Mayweather and Andre Ward or Terrence Crawford, like they can flip a switch and make that adjustment pre-fight on the fly, right? Okay,
Hmm.
power's not working. Okay, let me go high guard. Okay, let me walk you down. I can fight going backwards. And so,
Hmm.
like Roger just said, there's always saying, skills pays the bills. And then if I'm not mistaken, I think Lamont said that quote after the fight. So, but awesome fight. Where do you think these guys go from here? I've been hearing Shakur's name, Keyshawn Davis. Obviously, I think Shakur's a better boxer than Lamont. But again, I mean, his chin hasn't really been tested, so I don't know if he can do what Lamont can do. I don't
Right.
think Shakur is physically. I don't think Shakur can is. I could be wrong though, Greg. I don't think Shakur, from a physical standpoint and just being a man, right? The way that Lamont was, I don't think Shakur is that. I think Shakur is a little bit more of a prettier fighter. He gonna touch you. He gonna keep distance. I don't see Shakur cutting distance, trying to walk him down. Right. I think Shakur would keep the distance, let Tank come to him, and try to catch him with a shot.
Yeah.
But what do you think these guys go from here? I mean, like, who do you want to see Tank go with? And then is it a rematch? Is it Shakur
That's.
and
I
Tank, or what
mean.
do you think?
A fight that close in a fight covered with so much controversy, I think it's only right that they rematch each other.
Um, Last point on this fight, and then we'll get to Terrence and Canelo. You think the rematch goes the same way? You think Lamont feels more confident, or you think Tank's will go back to a drawing board and try to come in a different way? If they do rematch, after seeing the first fight, does it change your opinion?
I think. My bad. I think
Oh,
they
good man.
start. I think they start off from the last round. They go right into round 13 and get right to
Okay.
it. I don't think it's gonna be too much filling each other out. I think both guys will be looking to knock the other guy out.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure Lamont is definitely confident in his abilities. If he wasn't before, definitely because he was just in there with possibly the best 135 pounder in the world. So
Yeah.
what I mean. I can see it just being a great fight.
Gotcha, man. Gotcha, man. Hey, Chad. Greg Jonin. Don't forget he's on the East Coast. He's in Philly. I'm in California, so there's a 3 hour difference. So we gotta give this man his props. He stayed up late. And he's doing me a great favor. His
I
cash app is
respect.
underneath his name. So please support my guy, man. Greg,
Appreciate
bro.
you.
I mean, I love Terrence Crawford. Your breakdown of the Errol Spence fight, you hit the nail right on the head. You were spot on. You came from an unbiased opinion. I think Terrence arguably is the best fighter in boxing, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Would I be wrong if I said 168 is just doing too much?
I mean, I can't say you're wrong because we haven't seen it from Terrence Crawford, so we don't know. We don't know what he'll look like.
Hmm.
What I do know is when you think about it, Canelo is not naturally a 168 pounder. He's been there longer, but he's not naturally a 168 pounder. At the same time, they stand about the same height. Bud Crawford might be a little bit taller. So with that being said, if you put the weight on Terrence Crawford, then we got to fight. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
we looking at two similar body frames as far as the height and the weight. We know they both is punchers. We know they both sharp. We know they both don't mind making a fight ugly if they have to. Um, so I can't say until I see it.
Yeah, the one thing that worries me about this fight is, Canelo's chin. I think he has the awesome chin.
Yeah,
I'm not a Canelo fan by no means, bro. I think he's a scumbag. He's done some things in the past that rubbed me the wrong way when he was with
right,
Oscar. We won't get into all that, but I
right.
can't go against my boxing. You know what I'm saying? What I see in that squared circle. Here's my fear, right? Canelo feels the power on the arms, the whatever you want, the hands, the elbows. Maybe Terrence lands an early shot and Canelo goes, "That's what you got." Kind of what Terrence did to Errol Spence. And we know when Canelo wants to, really walk you down and he doesn't respect you, what does he do? He goes to the high guard, right? And he's going to come forward and he's going to take those shots on the elbows and the hips and what have you. The question for me is, I don't think Terrence is, man, I hate saying this. I don't think Terrence can do what Floyd did, but Canelo is older, he's smarter than when he fought Floyd,
Yeah,
and I think Canelo is a great body puncher, and Terrence will have to fight from the outside, and at times stand your ground, make it an ugly fight, get in.
yeah,
Obviously, Canelo to me doesn't like to throw when you're throwing at him, so he'll shell up and you can get your shit off per se. But my thing is after rounds 5, 6, or 7, when I think Terrence steam has kind of gone down a little bit, they're both real conditioned fighters. I think Canelo may get tired quicker. But what's going to happen when Canelo doesn't respect the power and he starts just walking him down?
I mean, that could possibly happen, and I believe even though you don't respect a man's power, you still don't want to get hit by him.
Yeah.
And I think Crawford has good enough ability on his toes where he can make it a difficult fight if Crawford, I mean, if Canelo just tried to walk him down. I believe he can make it difficult. I mean, but listen, this is why boxing is great because you got a guy who was known at 35, 40, 47. He went to 54 one time, and he's now trying to challenge himself in an ultimate way where he's trying to go up two more weight classes to 168 pounds and fight the best fighter in the world right now.
Mhm.
I think this is what life should be about. You got to take chances. You know what I mean? You got to go in there and test yourself. If he goes in there and he beats Canelo Alvarez, come on, man. Like, come on.
You're not lying about that, bro. You know what I'm saying? And check this out. The fact that he has an Andre Ward who's close to him, right? We know Terrence has been sparring or does spar with some bigger guys.
Yeah,
So that whole regime, Shakur, Terrence, Andre, Keyshawn. I'm not sure you can name a better 4 guys who are just close. Does that make sense, Greg?
yeah,
And so, iron sharpens iron. And so I think with Andre being in the corner, behind the scenes, that's big.
yeah,
And you're right. I mean, I think that will be a great defeat. It's going to be a tough fight. I don't think he'll listen. I remember when Amir Khan fought Canelo in the first 4 or 5 rounds, the speed, the footwork, he was outboxing him. He was up, 4 rounds to 1. But the IQ at times, Amir stays in that pocket, just too long at times, right? And he seemed
yeah,
to get caught every fight. And Canelo landed the straight right, and it was lights out from there. For me, can Crawford stay away for 12 rounds? Can he take? Because for me, Canelo does a great job punching your arms, your hips, your elbows, and
yeah,
so how much energy, or steam is Terrence going to have late in the fight in rounds 9, 10, 11, and 12? I want to see it. I hope it happens. He wants to dare to be great. I do think, it's going to be his biggest money fight. So win or lose, I think Terrence is in a good position. If you win, you're going to get
right.
praised like no other. If you lose, we're going to say, well, he went up 2 weight classes and he tried it, right? but he's going out with a huge payday. And so, there's no shame in that, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Real shit.
Yeah. You know, I- I'm a NBA guy, Greg. Like I'm a big time NBA guy, but boxing is my second favorite sport. The politics of boxing has really, it's swayed me the wrong way. Too many incorrect decisions, corrupt judges, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Behind the scenes, BS, bullshit, fighters not finding the best, guys trying to get the biggest payday but not fight the most, competition. Like what's your thoughts on that, man? I mean, boxing
I
has
mean,
changed over the last 10 years.
it's changed, but then really it hasn't because these things have been being done for a long time. The only thing that's really changing about the sport is so much avoiding. You know what I mean? They're allowing fighters to avoid other fighters. I don't like that part. But it's all in the name of business. These guys are trying to protect their assets. These guys being promoters, they're trying to protect their assets. They're trying to protect their favorite fighters, and
Mhm.
they trying to keep the money rolling in. So they trying to make these guys look as perfect as possible. The thing is, I feel like it's watering down the sport because you constantly giving us mismatches, and
Yeah,
to be honest, sometimes you can miss with a mismatch because as we just saw with Lamont Peterson, he did way. I mean Lamont Roach, he did way more than we thought he would do. You know what I mean?
right.
So
Yeah.
therefore, what I mean, that's why we need competitive fights, and that's why we need fights like that. But I mean, the state of boxing right now is kind of crazy because
Yeah.
it's almost
Yeah.
like a popularity contest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. We got Greg for about another 5 to 6 minutes here. Hey, Greg. Okay, man. So you're in Philly.
Yeah,
Danny Garcia, Bernard Hopkins.
yeah,
Are those guys still around? Do they visit the gym?
yeah.
You know.
Danny's around. Bernard's not really around. He don't really
Okay.
come. I mean, he comes to Philly, but nobody.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. And so you're in the boxing gym, what, 5, 6 days a week?
Yeah, 5 6 days. Yep.
Okay. 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 I took a trip to DC, man, probably about a year
Mm,
ago, and we drove through Philly, Pennsylvania, and we stopped at this place. It's a black-owned hoagie shop. It's called All Day Hoagies in Philly.
mm,
One of the best hoagies I've ever had, bro. So if you get a chance, man, it's a black lady. It's called All Day Hoagies. It's
yeah,
black-owned. And I think it's in North Philly, if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken.
I definitely heard of it. Yeah,
Yeah, bro, y'all streets out there is crazy, man. Like narrow streets. It's crazy,
yeah,
man. Yeah,
yeah,
I got a place out there, bro.
yeah. It's
And then I
tight.
drove through Baltimore. We drove through Baltimore, going back to DC. Look like a third world country on some of those streets, man.
Yeah,
It's crazy, bro. Yeah,
yeah.
it's crazy, man. Yeah. So let me close it with this, man. Let me close it with this. When people ask me, my favorite fighter of all time, a lot of times they tend to throw in Muhammad Ali. And we don't close on this last segment, bro. Then we're good. I don't agree with that, right? I think Ali was praised for things outside of boxing, right? But
Mm,
when we're judging strictly in the squared circle from a
mhm,
boxing standpoint, I can't praise somebody who got beat on, whose defense wasn't all that. Yeah, he had good
mhm.
defense. I'm not saying he didn't, right? If I told you I thought Floyd Mayweather was the best technician in boxing
Yeah.
I've ever seen, to that you say what?
I mean, I can't really say you wrong, but the thing we have to understand is Mayweather had a lot of examples to develop
Hmm.
his style. You know what I'm saying? Before him, there was Meldrick Taylor, there was
Yeah,
Pernell Whitaker. You know what I mean? It was guys like that. Before those guys, you did have the Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Robinsons, Willie Peps, stuff like that, George Benton's. Just a lot of guys, right? So what happens with a guy like Mayweather is what people don't understand is if you study something and then you physically work on it time and time again, you know what I mean,
hmm,
you will develop those kind of skills, but he developed more than skills. It was discipline. It was
right.
him, you know what I mean? It was him just understanding what type of fighter he was, and he displayed. But I can't say you wrong. You know what I mean? If that's who you think, then that's
Yeah,
who you think. You know what I mean? But Ali, the thing with Ali was his size. For him to
yeah,
be that big and be that light on his feet, you know what I'm saying? Before he started taking the beatings, he was almost unbeatable. You know what I'm saying? So I
yeah.
get it. I mean, I definitely get it.
Yeah. If I was a young kid in Philly, going through a lot in Philly, and I want to box, and I came to your gym, and I don't know shit about boxing.
Yeah.
Oh, Roger Floyd would say that you don't know shit about boxing. What's the first thing you're gonna teach me inside the ring?
I mean, we're gonna work on your footwork. We're gonna work on your coordination. You know what I mean? That's what I feel like is the most important. Your coordination. If you got the good coordination, then you can carry this thing for a long time.
Okay, okay. And the most important punch in boxing to you is the jab.
Jab for sure. Yep.
Sets up everything.
Sets up everything, get you in trouble, get you out of trouble. You know what I mean? You and it's also a range finder. It's so many different ways you can use the
Yeah, for
jab.
sure. Yeah, for sure. I
Mhm.
see. Floyd was one of the few guys where I saw when he worked the mitts, Greg. He would boom, 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 and then he would touch to get his distance,
Yeah.
and then boom, 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 touch, get his distance, and then you see him parry it at times in fights to get his distance. Last question: what the hell is going on with Errol Spence? I haven't heard from the guy. I haven't seen too many media. Nothing since the beating, right?
Yeah.
Um, come on. I mean, come on, Errol. I mean, you
I
lost.
mean,
It's okay.
to me, I don't think it's a question of if if he will fight. I think it's more so where's his head at. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
He's been through a lot. You know what I mean? Physically, mentally, emotionally. You know what I mean? It's a lot
Yeah,
going on. So I honestly didn't think he was going to come back. You know what I mean? But they say he's been in and out of the gym, things like that. Of course, he hasn't found a trainer that he can connect with. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Things like that. So I don't know. Maybe he just wait until he get the right pieces to finish putting things together.
Okay. What's next for Boots? I've seen you with
April
him a few times. I mean, is somebody in the works or
Boots
um
is fighting April 12th against Stanionis.
okay, okay. I gotta look that guy up, man. I gotta look that. Hey, a lot of people put Boots, in conversations. You
Yeah.
know, I think he's a good fighter. You know what I'm saying? Has he been tested? In my opinion, no, not really. I mean, he's done what he's supposed to do. I would say his one flaw to me is the defense. I think it gets hit too much for my liking. That's just me. I could be wrong, you know. But good young guy, and for me, I love his team, his dad, him, and he's a well-spoken young man. And so I'm a Boots fan, man. I'm a Boots fan. But
Mhm.
Greg, man, I appreciate you, man. It was short
Appreciate
notice.
you.
You came through. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely gonna do it again. And I know you look, man, you've been yawning, you hitting the vape. I know you're tired, bro. Get some
No,
rest.
I'm good.
All right, big dog. Salute to you, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And that's it, guys. That's my boy Greg. Just a boxing guru. You know what I'm saying? You guys go check him out. If you want to get real boxing analysis, no narratives, no agendas. What up, Derillas? I see some of you guys in the chat. He gonna give it to you straight, man. He's from Philly. He's been around some, amazing boxers. I always look forward to his analysis before and after fights. You know, for you guys that didn't know, um, I'm an NBA guy, but I'm also a huge boxing fan. Boxing is my second favorite sport of all time, and so I just love the sport. But yeah, Greg does a great job. You know what I'm saying? I always go to his channel or interviews that he's on, and I look forward to his analysis, his breakdown. And what's funny is for the most part, he's always right. I mean, he hasn't missed on too many of his predictions. Like he calls it like it is, and he calls the fights, and they go as he say they gonna go. So I gotta salute that guy, man. I gotta salute that guy. Um, but that's it, though. This wasn't going to be a long stream. I just want to get him on here, get his take. He gave a great breakdown of the Tank Davis and Lamont Roach fight. I don't know about you guys, but I'm curious to see, where they go from here. Do they rematch it? Does Tank go with Shakur? Does Keyshawn get a shot at Tank? Does Lamont go fight Shakur? Like that 135 division. There's so many different combinations and matches that can be made, and as boxing fans, that's what we want to see. We want the best to fight the best. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream now. Salute to all you guys that came in. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And we'll try to get Greg on more, after some more fights and get his takes. Salute.